hear us? Just ask him if he can hear us.
I'm here. Excuse me. All right.
That 6 to 8 minute one that you sent today, Nanda Prabhu, was it what time? It was 1 o'clock, around 1 o'clock, right? Here it is.
Hey, hang on just a sec. Okay, it sounds coming through a little quiet.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama
Hello.
Hare Hare.
Okay, well, I can't listen on the phone and my headphones at the same time, so I'll hang up. I'll listen.
Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna. Welcome. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm more worried about online. We can hear. I'm just wondering if the online people can hear. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. They still can't hear, right?
No, they can hear.
They can hear? They've confirmed it to you?
It's better, so
No, but
I'll keep adjusting as we go.
no, but can they confirm that they can hear? Because it'll be good if they can confirm.
Or it can hear.
Or I can hear. Okay.
He's gonna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah, you're right. If I move this closer, you're saying, right?
Yeah, if you can move it closer, it helps out.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is that okay?
A little more treble would be great. Hard to hear.
Hare Krishna, yeah. They're still testing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We're good? Okay. So we'll get started? Okay. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and by the sweetest graces of my spiritual master, my darkened eyes were opened with the salve of love in the form of transcendental knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances, gratitude, and homage to him. So today we're going to do it a little differently, because what has happened is that we have a website. We have a website that's just let them know that it's interfering with the sound system. So our website will be ready this Friday. We're launching. So because we're launching, we have a sort of particular set of things that we're doing to get ready for the launch. It's pretty much ready. The launch is pretty much ready, in fact. And it was telling me now I can turn it on right now. But there are some things that we are finishing off. And particularly when people join us, what happens is we want to make it intuitive to them. First, we want them to come to a site called smile.com. And on smile.com, they come to learn what Smile is all about. It's like a landing page, It tells people about what Smile is. And then what happens there is, after they see that, in that there is a 10-minute video where we are doing like a small pitch, like a small masterclass that gives them an overview of what we're doing with Smile. So it tells them, yeah, I think I'd like to try this. You see what I'm saying? And then what happens is there's a call to action, and the call to action is that there is a free community that they can join. Because if you make it free, then people think, okay, let me check the community out as well. See if I might be interested in this. And when they come to the community, they actually have a video which is like an orientation video. The orientation video is a little shorter. It's about 6 to 8 minutes. And what it tells people is when we start a Smile program, we do an introduction, right? And then we start with the kirtan, like that. So the orientation is like that introduction. So it tells them what to expect in a Smile program, like that. And then they're asked to, in the community, introduce themselves, right? And sign up for one of the Smile programs so that they can join now and they can participate in a Smile program. Okay? And also, there is a sort of like a welcome email that goes out to them that says welcome and congratulations. So in the welcome and congratulations email, there are something like 3 steps that they can take. And the first step is they listen to a video of me speaking for 1 minute that says welcome and congratulations. And sort of like, instead of just reading, they hear somebody say it to them. It's pretty much the same email, but spoken and with a little more detail in it that makes it sort of like more digestible, understandable, like very personalized. Yeah, very good. And then they go to another email, which is the orientation email that tells them what happens in a Smile program. That orientation part is what I'm going to speak now, because you're already here. You've been welcomed, you're in the program, and I want to give an orientation. So that what happens is, when they come to a Smile program, they don't have to go through the orientation over and over and over again. Notice all these weeks we've done smile. We've done the introduction over and over and over again, right? And it takes time. So what happens, it eats up the time that we could have spent doing kirtan and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and then it's also sometimes 40 minutes long. So it's unwieldy, it's not tight, it's not focused. When you have a orientation video, you can watch the video over and over again, right? If you want to. If you want to familiarize yourself over and over again, you can watch it, but you don't have to. If you see it once and you got it, it got it. Now you come to a smile program. And then what's going to happen in the smile program? So in the orientation video, I'll be explaining what smile is all about. So how I've started in the past is may not how we'll go into the future, because now I got two intelligent brains telling me what to say and not to say in the orientation video. And Nanda Braj Prabhu and Anand, they're with me and telling me things. But I'm going to do it my way anyway. I'm like President Trump. You give him a script and he goes off script, right? He just says what he wants to say. And so I'm like that in some ways, because I go with my heart and I just feel like I've got to say that. So basically, in the introduction part, and Anand, this is where you can start the scripting from this video now and say this was a script that came out. You see what I'm saying? So it can help us when we're scripting, right? So how all of this started, I want to give a little bit of a history of how all this started. All of this started with you might say an instruction, an order from who is my spiritual guide, my spiritual master, that we should set up an education system that goes from cradle to grave, that allows a person to achieve the pinnacle of their existence, so that they can come to their highest purpose in their life, so that they can actually understand the true meaning of their personal life, why they born, why are they here, what is their purpose in life, and what can they do so they can achieve their maximum potential. What can they do? Because that is human life. Human life is meant for extraordinary achievement. And it's truly extraordinary. It's like mind-blowing. If you knew what God had planned for you, you'd say to yourself, nah, that's not going to happen. It's too good. Sounds too good to be true. But it's not, because for God, there is nothing that is too good to be true, right? God can do anything. And since everyone is his child, according to the Bhagavad Gita, he wants his children to do as well as he does, or probably better, if they can, right? Of course, it's not better to do, or equal, but it's not so much possible. But anyway, that's his intention. So from that came the understanding that we should set up a university, because the university model is the most credible model for knowledge. People accept that if a university is running, the university has the best idea of what knowledge is, because that's what the purpose of that institution is, right? And that institution takes you all the way from undergrad understanding to post-grad understanding of everything, right? If you want to become a doctor, how you can be an undergrad, student, or go all the way to the highest level of being a doctor, whether you call it a PhD in medical science or whatever that's called, right? Okay, so from that came the idea that if we want to set something up like that, that's going to be a very, very big exercise. It's a mammoth exercise to set up a university from scratch, right? Where you have nothing, and from nothing, you're manifesting a whole university, which university should also be, rivaling any university on the planet and saying that we're the best. This is the best, methodology, model, etc. of a university. Okay, from that came the idea, where do we start? So we decided to start by helping people set up their own ventures. If people can set up their own ventures, then they can achieve the highest purpose of their life. Because if they just work for somebody else, if they're an employee,
that's going to support whoever the employer is, right? If I am the owner of Microsoft and people are working for Microsoft, they're really promoting what I want done. Get the idea? But if it's their own venture, then they will achieve the highest purpose of what they want to achieve. So we started with that. From that, we actually designed a framework how you can go from wherever you are, no matter how bad your situation is from your own point of view, how much of a loser you think you are, how much of a failure you think you are, how much of a, what is that word they use? Where you have an understanding of yourself that you have so many faults inside of you. There's an imposter syndrome you have, right? I'm not really like that. I don't have the capacity, this, that, and the other, right? So no matter how low you are, how to go to the highest position. Let's create a framework that goes from, in educational speak, pre-kindergarten to PhD. What's the framework that takes you in your life from this to that, right? So we came up with a framework, an amazing framework, a brilliant framework, which we are confident the world will accept as an amazing framework that delivers, that actually does what it says it'll do. So in that framework, there were 3 parts to that framework. And the first part of the framework is, to succeed in your life, you need freedom. Without freedom, you cannot succeed. If you're not free to do what you want to do, how can you succeed, right? If I want to set up something like Microsoft and I'm not free to set it up, how can I set up Microsoft? If I want to do anything, if I'm not free to do it, I can't do it. Somebody is holding me back. Someone is saying, no, you can't do it. Somebody is shackling you, then how do you do it, right? So the first thing you need in your life is freedom, right? Then the second thing you need in your life is the framework to achieve what you want to achieve. And that we call resourcefulness and resources. You need resourcefulness because you need to know how to do things so that success is created. You see what I'm saying? So, and then what that does is that it helps you create resources, because you need resources, right? To be successful in anything, you need to create resources. So, resourcefulness and resources, what are the frameworks that create resourcefulness and resources? That became the center part of this 3-part framework. And then the final part of the framework, we called it My Mastery, just like we have mastermind, right? But we are made of different levels of consciousness, which includes the senses, which includes the mind, which includes the intelligence, which includes our emotions, which includes our ego. So you need to master all of these, not just the mind. So we called it My Mastery, which means mastery of your mind, intelligence, your ego, including your emotions, like that. My Mastery. So what happens in My Mastery is that people who are like-minded get together and help you create the venture that you want to create. Now, that begs the question, if they're helping you create your venture, then what about them? They're working for you. It goes back to them being employees. But the model works in such a way that everybody helps in their group. There's a group of 6 people, the person whose venture we're going to help, and 5 people will help that person do the venture who have unique assets that they can bring to the table. Do you see what I'm saying? Then what happens is that one person who was helped by the 5 helps them create their 5 so they can repeat the process. So this way everybody gets to build their own venture. And we also have a generic venture that everybody does that allows them to learn. It's a little like a model. You have a model. Just like, when you want to go and buy a house, you see a model house, right? And then you say, yeah, I think I'd like to buy a house in this community, and then I'm going to change it according to the plans that are available to me, right? So it's the same thing here. So this is the process. Then the question arose, what gives the greatest freedom? In all of this, what is the most powerful thing a person can do? So the most powerful thing a person can do is actually to have God as their partner. You get the idea? God being their partner. Because if God is your partner, God is invincible, right? He's infallible. He can do anything. He is the most powerful. And He's the original father of all living entities. So a parent is your first, most important bet if you want to succeed in life, for somebody to, encourage you, rah-rah you on, right? Give you resources. Like we can see parenting, right? For those of us who have children, when the child is born, that child is totally dependent on the mother, right? And the mother may also be dependent on the father because the father is the breadwinner in the family or something like that, right? But all of them are supporting the child from day one till the time the child flies out of the nest. Correct? So God does the same thing. Now, we don't ever fly out of the nest until we go back to the kingdom of God. But the idea is that He wants us to learn to fly so that we can achieve the great purpose of our life. We call it miraculous greatness. So the way we come out with this program is we say, everyone was created for miraculous greatness. Live life on your terms, like that. So to do that, to arrange a program where one can truly have freedom, we develop SMILE. Here comes SMILE. And SMILE is spelled SMYHL because it's an acronym for Sankirtan Mahayagya Holy Name Lifestyle. Now, of course, for many people, the first three words are foreign words. What does Sankirtan mean? What does Maha mean? What does Yagya mean? Holy name, in English, anybody understands what holy name is. It's the name of God, right? It's a glorification of God. It's called the holy name, right? Like that. And lifestyle, everybody knows. How am I going to live my life? What's my style of living? That's lifestyle. So the first word, Sankirtan, actually is the holy name itself. And what Sankirtan is, it breaks up into two parts, San and Kirtan. San means to do together with, to do it together with somebody else, not alone, but with somebody else. So in what is called association, it comes from the word Sangha, which means association, how to have association. Birds of a feather flock together. So if you have an association of people who are like-minded, like those who practice medicine have a medical association, right? It's like-minded people who are working together to promote medicine. So a Sangha. And Kirtan means to glorify God as an expression of love for the Lord. You love the Lord, so you glorify the Lord. Like in Christianity, they say, hallelujah. What are they doing? They're actually glorifying the Lord, right? Oh, praise be to the Lord, right? The Muslims say, Allahu Akbar, right? The Hare Krishnas say, Hare Krishna. These are all different ways of praising the Lord. That's called the holy name. You see what I'm saying? And in the holy name, there are various stages. You can chant the holy name in your mind, or you can chant it softly, that's called japa, or you can chant it loudly, that's called kirtan. Kirtan simply means that you are calling out the holy name of the Lord, you're glorifying the the name of the Lord in a way that others can also hear. You're speaking, but it's not so soft that only you can hear, others can also hear. Someone 15 feet away, if they can hear, that's kirtan. Okay? So when you do that type of chanting of the holy names of the Lord together with other people, that's called Sankirtan. Maha means the great and Yagya means sacrifice. It's the great sacrifice of the age. Because in every age, there's a form of sacrifice that creates the maximum success of each person, the maximum potential of each person. And there are 4 ages like that. We live in an age called Kali Yuga, according to the Vedas, which means the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And in this age, people will be very highly stressed, have a lot of anxiety, little time. They'll feel like losers, this, that, and the other. It'll be a negative environment, a very negative environment. And we even say our brain is left biased, which means negative. Things like that. So in this environment, you need a method that's a very simple method, a sublime method that's very powerful and can deliver despite all the negativities. That method is called glorifying the holy name of the Lord as an expression of love for the Lord. So that's the process in this age to actually achieve the highest success. So that's called Sankirtan. So Sankirtan, Mahayag means the greatest sacrifice. Harinam or holy name means holy name, and lifestyle means lifestyle. So that's called Smile. So that's the program. Okay, so what happens in a Smile program? In a Smile program, as we are here, we come together in groups of from 2 to 20. The idea is not to grow more than 20 because it becomes less personal. And if you can have 2, it's most intensely personal, right? 2 people, they'll have a lot of time to develop together like that. So people come in groups together like that, and they do for 10 minutes, they chant the holy names of the Lord. We will do kirtan, you will see that happen. And then we speak about 7 boons that you get when you do chanting of the holy name together like that. We speak about the 7 boons. Because when you hear the 7 boons, you understand what God has as a gift for each child of His. Every child, God has a gift, just like we as parents had a gift for the baby when the baby is born, right? What's one of the first gifts the baby gets when the baby is born? Diapers, yeah. Milk from the mother, right? Yeah. They can sit on the chest and feel comfort, right? I mean, there's powerful gifts that are given by the mother and the father in different ways. But amazing gifts are given to the child. What does that do? It creates a loving bond. So in loving exchange, for love to exist, there are 6 things said to be required. One is that we give gifts and receive gifts. Second is we offer food to people and accept food from others. And then we speak confidentially to others and hear confidentially from others. When these 6 exchanges happen, that is said to be the definition of love. So that is what's happening in a kirtan. These 6 exchanges are happening. What is happening? When we're chanting the holy name of the Lord, we're saying, may you have God. What is the greatest gift you can give anybody? The gift of God, right? There's no more powerful than God to give as a gift to somebody. So we say, may you have God, and they say, may you also have God. So you're actually exchanging gifts like that, right? And then you're feeding the soul. So there comes the food. And then we, of course, also have food at the end. We call it prasadam. And finally, we are speaking to the Lord. We're revealing our heart to the Lord, right? And the Lord is actually reciprocating with us, understanding what is in our hearts. How much more powerful can you get than that? So those 7 boons actually tell us the power of the holy name. And then what we do is we do 10 minutes of reading from a scripture called the Srimad Bhagavatam. And what the Srimad Bhagavatam is that it is the auto commentary on all of the Vedas. Vedas means all of scripture that exists out there that explains a number of things. It explains the existence of God. It explains how God is the origin of all living and non-living beings, how there is a spiritual world, how there's a material world, how there are 8,400,000 species of life, how the human species is one of the top species of life, right? What is the purpose of human life? Why does the existence exist around us? So it gives us full information, just like when I was a young boy, there was such a thing we called the Encyclopedia Britannica. Do you remember that? And people go from house to house and hawk this encyclopedia. What is the purpose of the encyclopedia? It sort of gave you a host of information that you can live your life nicely with. Well, the Vedas give all information about life, A to Z. Everything is covered in the Vedas. And then when you condense the Vedas to its ultimate purpose, that is called the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we read from the Srimad Bhagavatam for 10 minutes, and then we speak about the 5 boons you get from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And when you see those boons, you think to yourself, with the 7 that you got before and the 5, everything's covered. There's nothing missing. You got it. Anything you could ever imagine in your life, multiply it many times over, and it still does not cover all you're going to get in those 12 boons. So that's the second thing that happens, right? Then the third thing that happens is we speak about 5 things that we do that will allow us to make progress in our life from where we are to our highest success. That's called AMHYA, AMHYA. The A stands for added hearts. The M stands for me set, just like your mindset. Me set means setting yourself completely, not just your mind, right? Like you can set yourself, not just your mind, but your body, your mind, your intelligence, your ego, your emotions, your relationships, environment, your internals that drive the externals, your spirituality, your relationship with God. All these are covered in me set, so that you're completely set. And then the H stands for now do things from the heart, because the heart is very stable, because the heart is where the Lord resides and we reside as the soul. That's how where we are. It's generally around where the chest is. That's why we point there when you say me, right? People don't point at their head and say me. They don't point at their knees and say me. They point here. Why? Because that's where the I is, the little me, and the big I, which is the Lord himself. Okay, so doing things from the heart creates the greatest success. So we call that heart set. Then the Y stands for understanding your identity. Because everyone has an identity, so if you do things according to your identity, then you'll be most successful. If you do it according to somebody else's identity, then you won't be so successful. Then you're being like you're acting like I won't use the word fake, but artificial another person. You're being like a carbon copy, sorry? Yeah, that's an imposter. You're being an imposter. If you're trying to be somebody else, you're really being an imposter. But if you're yourself, you're not an imposter. So really, imposter syndrome means being someone you're not. Be yourself. Everyone, however they are identified or have an identity, through that identity, they can achieve everything. Through each of any one of those identities, you can achieve everything. So live your identity. That's the Y. And then the A stands for 5 simple steps that you take that you can turn a small action based on your own capabilities into a whole movement. How can you turn it into a movement? So there are 5 steps. And those 5 steps are called know what your agency is, which is your capabilities. Take some small action based on that, which is second A. The third A is you will have some achievement. That will lead to you feeling authentic. And finally, that will lead to you having affinity for what you're doing, which means you're happy doing what you're doing. Because there are only 2 rules for success in life. Do what you love what you do. So now your affinity builds that. And now your agency becomes more powerful, right? Because now you love what you do. The more you love what you do, the better you're going to do at what you're going to do. So that's the 5 A's. So that's taught in AMHYA. And then there we decide on some micro win. How can you do something for under 5 minutes, hopefully just 30-second, 60-second action that'll create some achievement, that'll create some authenticity, that'll create affinity, that'll lead to even greater action. So you start with baby steps, and then you develop into giant steps over a period of time because you become good at what you're doing, right? It's a little like when you learn to ride a cycle, right? In the beginning, you just try to balance on the cycle. If you can just not fall off that cycle, that's pretty good, right? And later on, you become so good at riding that cycle that you can say, look, Ma, I'm riding without my hands on the bar, on the handlebar. Because you become so good at that, and you can stand in the bicycle while it's running and things like that. You can do things that you cannot do in the beginning. So that's true for everything. When you start something and do the simple steps, the baby steps, you can become very good at what you're doing later. My personal experience, I found that with technology. Technology and me are people who totally misunderstand each other. I'm as east as you can be, and technology is as west as it can be, and these two will never meet. You know what I'm saying? But what I did was, I started learning with my friends some small baby steps about technology, and today I've become fairly good at technology, I would say. I'm not the best at it, but I'm fairly good. But as I keep going, I'll get better and better and better at it, you see? So this is true for anything in life. Take baby steps and get there. So we talk about some micro wins that we can have, which will create great mercy, because you get the mercy of the Lord, because the Lord is your partner, right? In Added Hearts, remember who we joined? The Lord. So if you do some little endeavor, the Lord gives mercy, that endeavor becomes a great success. That's the formula. Okay? And then what we do is, after we've done that, we go back and do 10 more minutes of doing kirtan, because chanting the holy names of the Lord, glorifying the Lord is an expression of love for the Lord, is the most powerful thing. So we end with the most powerful thing again. Start with the most powerful, end with the most powerful. And then we do one thing that is generally even more liked by everybody, and that is feasting. Then we end with feasting. We create a feast, and everybody has a feast together, and people go home. That program is supposed to last an hour to an hour and a half. If you do it just with 2 of you, you can finish it in an hour. That's an introduction to Smile. Any questions, any add-ons, any subtractions? No? You all feel satisfied? That's pretty good? Okay, we'll leave it at that then. And then we'll start with the program. So officially, this is what we start with. We start with what is called a kirtan. So who's going to lead the kirtan? 10 minutes? 7:48 now, 7:58. Anybody want to do it? Mother Supriya, Saki, you want to chant? No? Is sure? Okay. We allow anybody who wants to sing. So maybe you can do that, Nan Prabhu. So Nan Prabhu will lead for 10 minutes, and then we'll speak about the 7 boons. And then we can all stand up for this, because kirtan generally we'll stand up, but you can stay seated, but the rest of us will stand up. Thank you. Okay, thank you for the mridanga. That was so nice. So now we're going to read from the seven. We got it. Yeah, the seven boons. Okay, so we'll just start from one side. There's a document that you have in front of me called the Seven Flames of the Holy Name, and you see that document there, right? So. Okay, so I mean, Mother Tammy, can you start the?
Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of the Lord Krishna, which can
And read number one.
cleanse the heart, the mirror of the heart, and
Okay, so basically, here it is saying that the chanting of the holy name creates all victory, which is what we're all looking for in our lives, right? We all want to be victorious in what we want to do. So the chanting of the holy name creates all victory and cleanses the mirror of the heart, because the heart is where you will see the Lord. And so if the mirror of the heart is clean, then you can see the Lord, and then you can also see that we are like the reflections, right? Like that. So that's the first boon that you get, that your heart becomes clean, heart becomes powerful and clear. And when you have a clear heart and a strong heart, right? In English, sometimes you hear this word brave heart, means a very strong person with a strong heart who can do great things like that. So the holy name creates that cleansing of the mirror of the heart and creates all victory. And then number two, yes. So in our life, we have many miseries that actually affect us. This whole material existence is like a blazing fire of miseries, like that. So this is the one, the holy name of the Lord is what stops it in its track. That doesn't mean it's going to stop immediately. What it means, it'll wind down. It'll wind down to a halt. Okay? And then now the third one. Prabhuji?
That chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities.
So everybody's looking for good fortune in their lives. And imagine the good fortune was a white lotus, and how it actually opens up and expands like that. So this chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. So this is the best charity work that anybody can do, not just for yourself, but for others as well. And then the next one.
It is the life and soul of all education.
So education is meant to do three things. It's meant to give you knowledge. It's meant to give you how to apply the knowledge so that it becomes real in your life, not just theory. And third, how you're going to create massive value from it. If it doesn't create value, what is the point of education, right? So the life and soul of all those three things is the holy name. So we can see why this world is missing out on that. If the world did that, if everybody in the world took advantage of the holy name and chanted the holy name with their heart and soul, then you will see that this world will become better than heaven. It'll become very heavenly, like that, most heavenly. Okay, Maji, can you read the next one?
The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life.
There you go. We're all looking for happiness in our lives. This is the one that expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life, not just of life, but of transcendental life. What does transcendental life mean? Transcendental life means going above and beyond. Just like when you go and deal with somebody, if they go above and beyond their way to help you and serve you, you feel very good about it, right? It is one of the reasons why a lot of us are, in Hare Krishna, because it went above and beyond our expectations. So when you can go above and beyond your expectations or the expectations of others, then people are going to be very attracted to you. And this is what does that. This act, the chanting of the holy name, is what expands that blissful ocean of transcendental life, or above and beyond life. And then number 6.
It gives a cooling effect to everyone.
Yeah, there you go. So in life, we all get worked up from time to time. We get hot under the collar. We get anxious, right? Things like that. This is the one that chills us. Get calm, back calm again. And we can do things better when we're calm. When we're all worked up and, highly anxious, right, then it's harder to do things that will be helpful. We'll tend to do things which are, what is the English word for it? More temperamental, impulsive. And those may not be the best things to do because it wasn't well thought out. It didn't get grounded properly. You see what I'm saying? So this is the one that allows us to be cool and do great things in our life. And finally,
enables one to taste full nectar at every step.
this is the most important thing. Everybody wants to be happy all the time. People want to be happy all the time. This is the one that gives full nectar at every step. Real happiness at every step of our life. So we can see that if we chant the holy names of the Lord, how great the benefit is of chanting, right? Like that. So anybody has any questions, anything you want to raise at this time before we move on to the Srimad Bhagavatam? So the next part is we're going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, and everybody will read about a minute each. Okay, again, the same 7 people. We'll read the same 1 minute each, and then we'll talk about the 5 boons that come from reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. And so I have the Srimad Bhagavatam here, and I'll mark it at a certain page, and this time we'll go this way, we'll go around this way. Is that okay? I'll bring it to the page. We were in the introduction, and suppose you can start from here, page number 33, first sentence. So I'll just let you know when the minute is over, then we can pass to the next person like that. Okay?
On his
Good.
way back from Vrindavan, he first came to Prayaja, where he met Rupa Goswami along with his younger brother Anupana. Then he came down to Benares. For 2 months, he instructed Sri Sanatana Goswami in the transcendental science. The instruction to Sanatana Goswami is in itself a long narration, and full presentation of the instruction will not be possible here. The main ideas are given as follows. Sanatana Goswami, formerly known as Sakara Malika, was in the cabinet service of the Bengali government under the regime of Nawab Hassan Shah. He decided to join with the Lord and thus retired from the service. On his way back from Vrindavan, when he reached Varanasi, the Lord became the guest of Sri Tapana Mishra and Chandrasekhar, assisted by a Maharashtra Brahmana. At that time, Varanasi was headed by a great sannyasi of the Mayavadi school named Sripad Prakashananda Sarasvati.
Okay, next person.
Right there.
When the Lord was at Varanasi, the people in general became more attracted to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on account of his mass Sankirtana movement. Wherever he visited, especially the Vishwanatha temple, thousands of pilgrims would follow him. Some were attracted by his bodily features, and others were attracted by his melodious songs glorifying the Lord. The Mayavadi sannyasis designate themselves as Narayana. Varanasi is still overflooded with many Mayavadi sannyasis. Some people who are the Lord in his Sankirtana party considered him to be actually Narayana, and this report reached the camp of the great sannyasi Prakashananda. In India, there is always a kind of spiritual rivalry between the Mayavada and the Bhagavata schools, and thus when the news of the Lord reached Prakashananda, he knew that the Lord was a Vaishnava sannyasi, and therefore he minimized the value of the Lord before those who brought him the news. He deprecated the activities of the Lord because of his preaching the Sankirtana movement, which was, in his opinion, nothing but religious sentiment.
Okay.
We'll start from here. Yeah.
Prakshananda was a profound student of the Vedanta, and he advised his followers to give attention to the Vedanta and not to indulge in Sankirtan. One devotee, Brahmana, who became a devotee of the Lord, did not like the criticism of Prakshananda, and he went to the Lord to express his regrets. He told the Lord that when he uttered the Lord's name before the sannyasi Prakshananda, the latter strongly criticized the Lord. Although the Brahmana heard Prakshananda uttering several times the name Chaitanya, the Brahmana was astonished to see the sannyasi Prakshananda could not vibrate the sound Krishna even once, although he uttered the name Chaitanya several times. The Lord smilingly explained to the devotee Brahmana why the Mayavadi could not utter the holy name of Krishna. The Mayavadis are offenders to the lotus feet of Krishna, although they utter always Brahma, Atma, and Chaitanya, etc. And because they are offenders of the lotus feet of Krishna, they are actually unable to utter the holy name of Krishna.
Okay.
The name Krishna and the personality of Godhead Krishna are identical. There is no difference in the absolute realm between the name, form, or person of the absolute truth, because in the absolute realm, everything is transcendental bliss. There is no difference between the body and the soul for the personality of Godhead Krishna. Thus, he is different from the living entity, who is always different from his outward body. Because of Krishna's transcendental position, it is very difficult for a layman to actually know the personality of Godhead Krishna, his holy name and fame, etc. His name, fame, form, and pastimes are all one and the same transcendental identity, and they are not knowable by the exercise of the material senses. The transcendental relationship of the pastime of the Lord is the source of still more bliss than one can experience by realization of Brahman or by becoming one with the Supreme, Brahman. Had it not been so, then those who are already situated in the transcendental bliss of Brahman would not have been attracted by the transcendental bliss of the pastime of the Lord.
Okay.
After this, a great meeting was arranged by the devotees of the Lord, in which all the sannyasis were invited, including the Lord and Prakshasa Nanda Sarvasi. In this meeting, both the scholars, the Lord and Prakasananda, had a long discourse on the spiritual values of the Sankirtan movement, and a summary is given below. The great Mayavadi sannyasi Prakasananda inquired from the Lord as to the reason for his preferring the Sankirtan movement to the study of the Vedanta Sutra. Prakasananda said that it is the duty of a sannyasi to read the Vedanta Sutra. What caused the Lord to indulge in Sankirtan? After this inquiry, the Lord submissively replied, I have taken to the Sankirtan movement instead of the study of Vedanta because I am a great fool. The Lord thus represented himself as one of the numberless fools of this age who are absolutely incapable of studying the Vedanta philosophy.
The fool's indulgence in the study of the Vedanta has caused so much havoc in society. The Lord thus continued, and because I am a great fool, my spiritual master forbade me to place with Vedanta philosophies. He said that it is better that I chant the holy name of the Lord, for that would deliver me from material bondage. In this age of Kali, there is no other religion but the glorification of the Lord by utterness of his holy name, and that is the injunction of all the revealed scriptures, and my spiritual master has taught me one. And then it's just a different language.
Har Nama, Har Nama, Har Nama.
Yes, that.
You can skip any part that's sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Go ahead.
So in the order of my spiritual master, I chant the holy name of Hari, and I am now mad after his holy name.
Whenever I utter the holy name, I forget myself completely, and sometimes I laugh, cry, and dance like a madman. I thought that I had actually gone mad by this process of chanting, and therefore I asked my spiritual master about it. He informed me that this was the real effect of chanting the holy name, which produces a transcendental emotion that is a rare manifestation. It is a sign of love of God, which is the ultimate end of life. Love of God is transcendental to liberation, mukti, and thus it is called the fifth stage of spiritual realization, above the stage of liberation. By chanting the holy name of Krishna, one attains the stage of love of God, and it was good that fortunately I was favored with the blessing. On hearing this statement from the Lord, the Mayavadi sannyasi asked the Lord what was the harm in studying the Vedanta along with chanting the holy name. Prakashananda Sarasvati knew well that the Lord was formerly known as Nimai Pandita, a very learned scholar of Navadvipa, and his posing as a great fool was certainly to some purpose. Hearing this inquiry by the sannyasi, the Lord smiled and said, "My dear sir, if you do not mind, I will answer your inquiry."
Okay. So, from this reading, we can see how the Supreme Lord Himself, Lord Chaitanya, who is the topmost person in creation, Banan, considered himself a fool in terms of studying scripture and was told by his spiritual master, don't worry about scripture, just chant the holy names of the Lord. So if something is good for the best, it certainly is great for everybody else, right? Right? If the richest person thinks, I earned good money, let's just take somebody who's the richest person. Let's just take, Elon Musk as a rich person, right? If he thinks he earned good money, how much money do you think he might have earned? If he thinks, this year I earned very good money, how much do you think that amount of money would be? Hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Because that's what he's into. Now, for those of us, what would hundreds of billions of dollars mean? It'd be beyond a lottery, right? It'd be beyond a lottery. You see what I'm saying? So if the Lord considers something to be truly the best, for us, it's way better than the best. So this is the value of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. We can become fixed up on what is the real truth, what is the conclusive truth that will help us make progress in life, instead of hearing this person and that person and that person and that person all coming up with their conjectures, I guess this is better, I guess that one is better. And do they really know? Of course not. God really knows. And if you repeat what God says, that means you're speaking what is? The absolute truth. And you notice in this world people say, it's not good to pursue absolute truth. We should only pursue relative truths, right? Why do they not like absolute truth? Because the absolute truth disagrees with them. They don't like the absolute truth because it doesn't agree with what they want to do, right? In this world, generally people do three things. They chase money, they chase followers, and they chase a life of, sensual pleasure, right? These are the three things people are chasing in this world, mostly. And here the Vedas are saying you're wasting your time. Why? Because those things cannot compare to the happiness of the Lord. If you chase the happiness of the Lord, those three things will pale in comparison, just like if you take how much water is in a calf's hoof print compared to how much water there is in the Atlantic Ocean. Where's the comparison, right? In a calf's hoof print, there's hardly any water there. In the Atlantic Ocean, there is so much water, you can drown in it. See? As much water as you draw, there's still more water available. Right? So this is the difference between the pleasure of the Lord and us trying to pleasure our minute senses, our very weak senses, like that. So this is where the Srimad Bhagavatam comes in very handy and gives us. And so the Srimad Bhagavatam also gives us 5 boons, right? And that's on the next page, the same page you read from, but on the flip side of that page. Here comes the 5 verses of the prayers to the Srimad Bhagavatam. All right? And so maybe we'll start again with you, Mother Tammy. You might read the first one.
O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of light to all the world.
Just that one boon, right? Can you imagine that it says it's the nectar from the ocean of all scriptures? Whatever anybody loves is called nectar. What does the honey, what does the bee do, right? It goes from flower to flower to pick up what? The nectar of that flower. And that nectar becomes honey. And we say that honey is the best. Money is the honey, we say, right? We call our significant other honey, right? Sometimes you love your kid and you say honey to your kid, or you like somebody and you say honey to that person. Honey is like nectar, right? So this is actually the ocean. If you imagine an ocean nectar, this one brings out that nectar from that ocean, from the ocean of all scriptures. And then the singular fruit of all of the Vedas. Vedas means every piece of knowledge that is true under 4 circumstances. It is always true in all places, for all persons, at all times, and under all circumstances. If something meets that test, that means it's a Vedic truth. And here it says it's the singular fruit of all of the Vedas. Imagine all of those truths delivering one single fruit. That fruit is going to be a very tasty fruit, right? That's going to be one heck of an amazing fruit. Imagine in this whole world, when we came, how many types of fruit do we have in this world? So many different types. We have mangoes, bananas, oranges, grapes, pomegranates, name it, right? But imagine that there was only one fruit in this whole world. I mean, that fruit would be something if it can satisfy what all the other fruits can do on its own, if it could satisfy, right? That would be an amazing fruit, wouldn't it? This is the fruit of all of the Vedas. The rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths. There is no conclusive truth that's missed out from the Srimad Bhagavatam. What a nice text to read from, because it has all the conclusive truths in it. You are the only giver of light to all the worlds. The only giver of light. Okay, so next one, Prabhuji.
O life, heir of all the Supreme Lord devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna.
Life heir of the Supreme Lord's devotees. So if we want to love the Lord, serve the Lord, we are called devotees. This is the life heir. If you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, you will become enlivened. You will have life. So if you feel right now you're not so energized, or sometimes you feel like life sucks, here is the answer. Pick up the Bhagavatam and read. You'll become enlivened again. O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. Kali is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And you can see in this world how much quarrel and hypocrisy is going around, right? So much quarrel, so much hypocrisy. This is the sun that can drive away that darkness. Those people who read the Srimad Bhagavatam never get affected by what's happening around them. They don't think, wow, what's happening to my country? What's happening to the politicians? What's happening to this, that, and the other? They don't think like that. They got so much better things to focus on. You see what I mean? It's like, imagine, you have kids in your home and they're fighting over toys, right? Okay? Do the parents get into it too and start fighting also over the same toys? Why don't the parents get into the fight? Because the parents got bigger toys to fight about, right? Those toys are too small. Why worry about the $50, $60 toy when they got a $80,000 toy sitting in their driveway? You see what I'm saying? Or they're living in a $500,000 toy. You see what I'm saying? They got bigger toys to deal with. So here it says here that this actually gives us light so that we can see what is more value and what is higher taste. Then finally, you are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna means that God is all attractive. That's what Krishna means. God is all attractive. And we're all attracted by something or other in our lives, right? At all times. But here's the person who is all attractive. Nothing missing. You have everything with one person. Okay, next verse.
I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself.
So he repeats again, you are Sri Krishna himself. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. When you read, you feel blissful. This is actually a fact. For those of us who are doing it, we feel that. I used to have a problem, I'm just giving a small example. I used to have a problem with sleeping at night. Real problem. It's like hard to fall off to sleep. When I do fall off to sleep, I have get up so often, in the night, and then try again to fall off to sleep, right? You feel like at the end of when you wake up in the morning, you feel like you didn't have enough sleep. Then I brought in one habit. I will read Bhagavatam and then go to sleep. And since then, I've been sleeping like a log. I close my eyes, within minutes, I'm out. Why? Because I'm feeling happier. A happy person can sleep better than a miserable person. When you're sad, you're miserable, it's hard to sleep. Unless you cry yourself to sleep. And most people don't like to cry themselves to sleep. So instead they pop pills. And then what does that? What does that do? That makes them dependent on the pills now. So when they don't have the pills, there's a problem. And sometimes the pill stops working. Now you got to go to a bigger pill, something that's more powerful. And what happened to Michael Jackson? He went higher and higher and higher in the sleeping aid he was taking. The last sleeping aid he took killed him.
It's never enough.
Huh?
Never enough.
Yeah, because he was trying to take something stronger. It was too strong for him. So it gave him like full-time sleep, right? He conked out for good. They say for good, of course, the soul doesn't go for good. But anyway, for that body it was for good, right? We don't want that. We don't want to depend on artificial things to help us do things. Our body was designed to do great things, you know what I'm saying? So let's do the right things and the right things will happen. And I only read 5 minutes, by the way, in the night. It's not like I read for a long period of time, just 5 minutes. But when I do read, I try to understand what I'm reading. And it actually gives bliss, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Then it says, every syllable pours down a flood of prema. Prema means love. We all are people who crave love. Every syllable in this book pours down a flood of prema. Bhagavatam starts with the statement, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om is one syllable, Namo is two. The whole statement, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, is 12 syllables. 12 floods of prema. That's powerful, right? You can always be served by everyone. How kind Krishna is, right? He doesn't say, no, you need to become a Hare Krishna before I let you read it. You need to become first initiated, second initiated. You have to give up eating meat, fish and eggs. You have to give up drinking liquor and smoking. You have to do this, you have to do that. Krishna is saying, no, everybody can read. Whoever you are, if you can read, Prabhupada said the only 3 skills you need in life, reading, writing and arithmetic. The 3 R's, they used to say. Right? They don't start with R, but they pronounce with R, right? Reading, writing, arithmetic. You know? Right? So they call it the 3 R's. If you have the 3 R's, if you can read, well, Bhagavatam's there. And by the way, the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada was so kind, he had them all translated into different languages. So no matter what language you're in, right? Just recently, Temple asked me to order some more books from BVT because they ordered it through me like that because I've been doing it all these years. And so at the end, they added Srimad Bhagavatam set Hindi. So I asked them how many sets. They said, we just need 1 set. Nobody reads in Hindi. But somebody came out of the woodwork and said, I want Hindi. You know, sometimes they come out of the woodwork and they say, I want Chinese. Okay. But mostly people do English and Spanish in America. These 2 are the big ones, you know, like that.
We have a set of Hindi at home.
Huh?
We have a set of...
You have a set of Hindi one at home. Nice, nice, very good. Okay, and then the next one. Can you read a next one? Yeah.
My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you.
Now think about it. When we are looking for something, if you take the my, whichever word it has after that, go through all those words, is there anything left out now? Didn't you get everything from your best friend, your constant companion, your spiritual master, your great wealth, your great savior, the greatest fortune, ecstasy? Do we need to add anything to that list now and say, I think I need this also? It's all there, right? It's all there. In all those things, everything is covered. There's nothing left out. Krishna is giving himself to us. How powerful is that, right? And then finally, Mataji? Yeah.
O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly. Again. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly. O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love.
There is nothing more powerful in this world than love. And there is nothing more powerful than pure love. Anything that's pure is going to be more powerful, right? If you have gold and you have pure gold is going to be more powerful. 24 karat is going to be more powerful than 10 karat, right? Because it's pure. Bhagavatam gives us pure love in such a way that it makes us saintly. When you have love, people will love you. You know, who do they consider a saint? A good person, right? A nice person who's always very kind, very compassionate, very wise, right? Such a person is called a saint. So we are unsaintly, right? Our nature is being unsaintly. This bestows means gives free of charge. It's like somebody gives you a gift or what do they call it now? When someone leaves money for you? Inheritance, right? Inheritance is free, right? Inheritance never comes at a cost and say, here's my inheritance for you, by the way, you have to give me $100,000 for the inheritance. Taxes. Right? Tax is not by the person who's giving it. That's the government reaching out with this big long hand and saying, I want my share too, so that I can use it for whatever nefarious purposes I need to spend it on. You know what I'm saying? But the person giving the gift is not asking for anything back. Krishna is giving this to free of charge, saintliness to us. Exalter of the most fallen means raises us from the lowest to the highest is called exaltation. Appear in my heart and voice with pure love. If you have pure love in your heart, you'll be the happiest person in the world. Nobody can stop you being happy now. This is what the Bhagavatam gives us, 5 boons. Add the 7 boons we read to these 5 boons, these 12 boons, everything's covered, right? This is smile. It's making us become free to do what we want to do now. Now we can be free to do what we want to do. We become empowered. Now we can do what we want to do. All right? Any questions? Any additions, subtractions? No? You good? Okay, let's go to Amya at a glance. And I'm just going to skim through this very quickly. So Amya is, like I said, the five letters, A-M-H-Y-A. The A stands for added hearts. Means add God's heart to your heart. If you add God's heart to your heart, you will be the most powerful person on the planet. So can you please do that? Most people don't believe it, so they don't do it. But if we do it, it'll be amazing. Then the second is Misat. Misat means organize yourself so that every part of you, from the sense objects to the senses, to the mind, to the intelligence, all the way up to God, are integrated in a process called yoga. You know, it brings everything together, and imagine that you are a 12-cylinder car and all 12 cylinders are firing. That car is going to do well, right? But imagine if 11 cylinders are firing, what's going to happen? If just one cylinder is not firing in a car, what happens? The car makes a lot of noise, right? It doesn't do much movement, it just makes a lot of noise. Yeah, it runs rough. This is the process of making sure that all our 11 cylinders are firing so we can do well in our lives. That's Misat. Then a heart-centered means do things based on what makes the Lord happy and you happy, because those are the two people sitting in your heart, you and the Lord. So do things based on the happiness of the two of you together, not one or the other. It's like if a husband and wife do things where the husband does things that the husband likes but doesn't care about the wife, and the wife does things, doesn't care about the husband, what's going to happen? a breakup, right? Sooner or later it's headed for a disaster, right? So we don't want that. We want to do things with the Lord. And then the Y stands for Yubira. On the other side is Y, which is Yubira, which stands for what is your identity? Who are you? And there's a way to find out your identity, and we teach that. And then if you act according to your identity, you'll do well. Normally, like I'm sitting on a chair like this, I put the microphone on the ground, I sit on the microphone, and I speak through the chair. And people think, why are you doing that? And I say, well, if you're a microphone, don't use yourself as a chair, right? Be who you are. And I know people will not like that idea very much because people like you to be who they want you to be. That's very typical. You see what I'm saying? But you have to be who you are. That's the only way you can succeed. And when I say who you are, means who you really are, not, oh, I think I'm Superman, you know. Well, I'm sorry, you're not flying around, so you can't be Superman, you know. If you're flying around everywhere, I can say, okay, you might be Superman. Sorry? Be authentic. Yeah, be authentic. Be authentic. Be who you really are. Through you, you're going to achieve everything. Don't worry about it, because the Lord is there with you. Then finally, those 5 steps I was mentioning in the introduction, you know, based on your agency, take some action, achieve something, feel authentic, have more affinity towards what you love doing, and now do greater things, and the small action piles up into a movement. Right? So if we do that, then we're doing Amya. So then we talk about the micro wins. What micro wins can we do based on our current abilities? What is it that something that we can do, which is a very simple action that will make you feel like, man, if I did that and achieved a result, that would make me feel like I can do this. What's a small thing we can do? Under 5 minutes. The shorter, the better. Smile, okay. Mataji, can you think of something you can do under 5 minutes that'll make you feel like, if I achieve that, that'll be great. In 5 minutes, under 5 minutes, what can you do under 5 minutes? Yeah, good. That's a good one. Give your heart to Krishna. How long does that take? Seconds? Yes? You can give your heart to Krishna in seconds, right? You can say to Krishna, I'm yours and you're mine. I've given my heart to you. What do you think will happen when you do that? What do you think of some achievement that might happen when you do that? You feel better, right? You feel, thank God I gave my heart to Krishna. It's the best thing I could have done. You feel blissful, right? Even if it's for a short time. At least there's an achievement, right? And when they have that achievement and you start feeling blissfulness, then what do you feel? This is real. This is not just imagination, right? It's real. I felt bliss. That's authenticity. Authenticity means it actually happens. It's not just your imagination anymore. It's actually happening. You're feeling better. What does that mean? Now you feel even happier giving your heart to the Lord now, right? You feel like, man, I should say this 3 times a day. Why only saying once a time a day? 3 times a day. You know how when you're sick, the doctor says take 2 pills 3 times a day? So, 3 times a day you say to Krishna, I'm yours and you're mine. Everything I'm going to do, I'm going to do for your pleasure. Then what's going to happen? You're going to do it more than 3 times a day. There's some of us who do that every opportunity we get, we say it to the Lord. Because we get a lot of opportunity to say it, right? Because there are things that are going around us all the time that don't seem to be going very well. At that time, if you say to Krishna, I'm yours and you're mine, Krishna can step in and help you out, right? He can say, okay, if I'm yours, I better help you out right now, right? You seem to be going through some type of a, rough patch here. Let me walk you through that rough patch. Okay? Now, you start telling that to your friends and saying, you also do this. And the friends do it, and they find out it works. What happens? They become your really good friends, right? They feel like, you're my best friend. You gave me a strategy that was more powerful than any strategy I used before. And they become your best friend. And now you start doing things together. And another friend joins another friend. You can have a movement one day, right? That's how, by the way, Prabhupada started this movement. Do you know that he started this movement with only 2 devotees? First, he had 1 devotee in India. Between 1950 and 1965, 15 years, Prabhupada made 1 devotee in India. And didn't achieve much more than that from his point of view. And he comes to America, and in 1966, he made 2 devotees. First, he made 2 devotees. Today we have 2 million devotees. He started a movement with one person in India, 15 years, 2 years, 2 more people. Suddenly, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, now millions. See how movement happens? This is the best way to make anything happen in life. You create a movement. Anand Prabhu was having a problem with his business. So he started talking to someone about it, then talking to someone about it, talking to someone about it. Then that person said, I'll help you, and I'll help you. And today he's got such a powerful movement going. He laughs every day because he feels like, wow, this is great, man. But when you started, you felt like you were alone. Nobody wanted. In fact, his wife told him, I think I'll divorce you. Right? Not there's anything wrong with the wife. I'm not blaming the wife here. I'm not saying the wife was a bad person. But she felt that he was doing the wrong thing. Correct? So he didn't. He was nice to the wife. He told the wife, no, don't worry. One day it'll be fine. It'll be okay. I love you. Everything's fine. You see what I'm saying? That's how you talk, right? To your significant other. Make it work out somehow. But he kept pursuing it with others. Then one person heard, then 2 people heard, and now he's got a whole movement behind him. So big that the biggest group of hotel owners is totally on his side. They've joined him and said, we'll do this. You see what I'm saying? This is a formula for success that we need to teach people, and then they'll do great. That's what happens in a SMILE program. Right? Is that good, you think? We got it? Any other suggestions? Something like she said, like, I'll just add Krishna's heart to my heart. One small action. Anybody else want to suggest something? Something simple, like Mother Tammy suggests something. Just smile at somebody, right? If you smile at somebody, you make a friend. That's pretty simple, right? How long does it take to smile? I keep telling the story of this guy who's become a millionaire, teaching people to smile. He gets them a pencil and put it in their mouth, stretch the mouth out, so keep it there for 2 minutes. They smile for 2 minutes because the pencil forces them to smile, right? It stays in their lips, and then they take it out. And he says, how do you feel? They all say, we feel really good. They pay him money to teach them how to smile. And people think, why would you need to pay anybody to learn how to smile, right? But until somebody makes you do it, you don't see the benefit. I remember in the 1970s, there was a guy in America who became a multi-millionaire by taking a stone for a walk. He would get stones, he'd try to string around it, put a nice string, and he put it in a nice box, and he sold it, and he made it your pet rock. He called it your pet rock. Anybody remember that? Yeah. He called it his pet rock, and he made millions of dollars selling pet rocks. And what people would do, they take the pet out of their box, the rock and the string, and they'd walk the string, that pet on the street. That's their pet rock that they're walking. And they felt good. I have a pet. Now, a pet rock doesn't cost you money to feed, right? A dog might cost you more, a cat might cost you more. It poops and everything else. You have to clean up after it. The rock doesn't do anything like that, right? You see? And then he gave them ideas. Make the rock and then paint the eyes on the rock and make a nice smile on the rock, and they created Jagannath on that piece of rock, right? And Jagannath actually came to them like that. They didn't know that they were actually doing Jagannath, but that's Jagannath, right? 2 eyes and a smile. That's Jagannath. It's God himself. See how God comes indirectly to people even though they don't think they have God? God comes to them because God loves them so much. How many times as parents have we gone to our children when they didn't want us to be with them? Children say, I don't want your dad, I don't want your mom, you're the worst mom on the planet, you're the worst dad on the planet. And the dad or mom tries to find a way to get into the kid again, right? And the kid knows it. And the kid just keeps rebuffing the parent keeps trying, and sooner or later what happens? They're all together again. Right? That's Krishna. We've rebuffed Krishna and said, I'm going to the material world, I'm going to live on my own, I'm going to do great, man. I don't need you. Who are you? And then we came here, and what happened? We found out what this world was like. But, we've got to save face now, right? Now we know we've made a mistake. I've got to prove that I was right. That's the material world. That's the unsaintly. That's the fallen. But Krishna doesn't give up his attempt, does he? He keeps trying. He finds this way, that way, this way, that way, and gets into a person. Smile is one of the methods he gets in. We are the carriers of Lord Krishna's mercy to others, Lord's mercy to others. Yes.
One movement I've been working on is I've noticed that Jagannath's smiling all the time. Baladev is always smiling. Subhadra's always, Kalashanji's always smiling.
Right.
Gauritai is always smiling.
Always smiling.
Even pictures of Srila Prabhupada, he's smiling.
He's smiling.
And I was thinking, why can't I smile when I chant my japa?
Yeah.
So now I like try to
Smile when you do japa.
I
That's
smile.
good.
And after I'll chant, all of a sudden I'll be like, wow, I did 5 rounds. Like 5 rounds are done.
And can you imagine how happy Krishna feels that you're smiling when you're doing japa? That means you're happy to do japa, right? Most people do japa not so happily, right? I just got to finish my 16 rounds, man. Somehow if I can just finish my 16 rounds, I'm done. And now I can do whatever I like to do. You know, I got the 16 out of the way. Now, like Prabhupada said one time, he was chanting, and he finished 16 rounds, he took his beads, and he banged it next to him, and he said, I finished my 16 rounds. Now I can do any damn thing I like. Prabhupada said that. And people were wondering, what? And Prabhupada said, that's what all of you guys are doing. I just wanted to show what you guys are doing. You're thinking that chanting is a duty, it's a chore. Let me get the chore done, now I can really do what I love doing, right? Chanting is not what I love doing, you know what I'm saying? So here's a strategy of just smiling while you're chanting, right? Feeling good when you're chanting. The Lord is going to be happy. Even if you do 1 round feeling happy you're chanting, it's better than 64 rounds you being a grouch while you're chanting. It's a fact. Prabhupada actually said that 1 attentive round is better than 64 inattentive rounds. Well, inattentive is not grouch. Grouch is worse than inattentive, right? Grouch is, I really don't like to chant, man, but my spiritual master said I should chant. You know, that devotee told me I should chant. Everybody's chanting. If I don't chant, it looks like I'm a bad boy. You know what I mean? So they chant, you know what I mean? Krishna is not really happy with that. Why? Please, my name is not punishment, right? My name is these boons, not punishment. Be happy. So Prabhupada said that, right? Chant and be happy when you're chanting also. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a great micro win. You can see that doesn't take much time, right? To smile while you're chanting, how much time does that take? Nothing, right? But it's a powerful, powerful action. And it will lead to what? It will lead to you becoming happy with the chanting. The chanting will do better for you, give you these boons faster. And suddenly you'll see in your life, you did well, and then you think, I didn't deserve that. Yeah, you didn't deserve it, but the Lord gave it to you because the Lord became happy.
I've noticed I can't help but see Krishna smiling.
There you go.
Right? I'm smiling, I'm trying to smile for him, I'm trying to be
Yeah,
happy with
he
him.
smiles at us.
I like seeing,
Yeah. No, very good.
He's always smiling.
Observe him. Just observe. You can see the Lord is always happy with us, right? Just like the mother is always happy with the baby, right? I don't think the mother ever looks at the baby like a grouch and says, I hate I had you as my baby, and I wish I never had you as my baby. And curse you, kick you out of the street one day. Mother never thinks like that, right? Mother is always, baby's the best, the baby's the greatest, my baby, right? Now that baby loves the mother. Why? Because the mother gave it so much happiness. When you give happiness to somebody, they're going to love you. So can we be nice to other people, instead of, There's a thought that came through today in my mind, which I thought would be revolutionary. And that is, if I went to Kalachandji every day, and when I do pray to him every day, if I go to him and pray to him every day, for those people who hate me, there are always going to be a few people who hate you, right? There's going to be a few people who love you, few people who hate you, and most in the middle don't care. Right? That's reality, right? But I always seem to pray for the ones who like me, and I hope the other ones will like me too, right? But today I thought, no, I should go and pray for the other ones who don't like me, and say, Lord, please give them the greatest success in life. Make them very successful. May they be always happy. If you are supposed to give me some happiness, don't give it to me, give it to them. Okay, if you pray like that to the Lord, genuinely not,
Yeah.
This is not a deal I'm making with the Lord. I'm being nice to you, please be nice to me. You know? Genuinely thinking like that, right? I think that my consciousness will rise. It'll rise to a higher level. It'll understand that every person is most important to Krishna. Just because they don't like you doesn't mean they are less important to Krishna. You see what I'm saying? Now, Krishna may deal with them however he wants to deal with them, teach them so that they can also rise in their consciousness, this, that, and the other. That's a different story. But that's not my business. My business is I should wish everybody well. Prabhupada will always sign, your ever well wisher, right? To everybody, he would always write, you ever well wisher. And people loved Prabhupada, right? Because he always loved everybody. He didn't really care that, some people opposed him, didn't like the Hare Krishna movement and this, that, and the other. It didn't matter to him. It's okay. But I will always wish you well. That's a small step. It's not a big step, right? How long does it take you in front of Kalchandji to say, please, Kalchandji, you know the people who don't like me. I know some of them. I probably don't know all of them. I'm sure the crowd is a little bigger than who I think it is. I always overestimate my popularity, that type of stuff. So, but you know who they are. Can you please really give them a nice boon? You know what I mean? I want to thank them because what they did, I became more serious in my Krishna consciousness. Because they are making it sure that I learn that this world is not my real home. I'm in an outhouse. In India they have this outhouse. The toilet is always outside the house, it's never inside. Because it stinks to the highest heaven. Because it's open. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the smell's coming out all day long, right? It stinks to the highest heaven, And you're supposed to, in the morning, face south when you pass stool, and in the evening face north. Well, you can't anyway make a toilet that's going to face north and south, during which way you stay. Even if you change your position, it's not going to work, right? Whichever toilet, if it's facing north, you can't face south and the toilet. If it's facing east and west, you can't face north and south either, right? So in America, you can't do it no matter what you do, because it's not just a hole that you can sit around, whichever way you want to sit. You get the idea? But then that toilet really stinks, really a lot. That's why they keep it outside. So it doesn't, stench up the house. You see what I'm saying? So the point is that this world is like that. It's an outhouse. And what do you do in the outhouse? You go and finish your business as quickly as possible because you don't like the stench. You see what I'm saying? Because it's not just your stool that's stinking there. It's everybody else who came in that stool there. So it really stinks. Everybody thinks my stool doesn't stink, Other stools stink, but mine doesn't. Mine has some smell to it. Right? It's just naturally people think like that, right? But here everybody's doing it, so you really feel the stench. So that's a good analogy. The material world is like that. It's a place that really stinks, Now you're supposed to do your business and get out of there, right? So what is our business? Our business is to please Krishna. And in the process, we'll become liberated. We'll become truly free to do what we want to do in our lives. This is why the micro wins are very important. It helps us in this way. Okay? Very good. So we're at 8:53 now. And it's prasadam time. And all the prasadams out there, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do 5 minutes of kirtan and then we'll do prasadam after that. So anybody else wants to lead this time? And if you're brave enough to lead?
Mom, do you want to lead?
No, thanks. I have never led kirtan.
Well, this is your chance. It's your first time. Please.
Okay.
Please.
It's only 5 minutes. I think I can handle that. Sure. Oh, you do
That's
that.
good.
Okay.
That's your micro win for the day.
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay.
Let's stand up and do it. Let's stand up and do it. So you can sit down if you want, but we'll sit.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Bobamosudurmati, Takatita, Kadina Samsari, Krishna, Varadarmai, Kohibari Jivada, Swakusha, Notilobai, Senamritapa, Radha Krishna Gunaga, Premita Kush, Vichimita, Jai Mai Jai Mai Mapshad Ki Jai. Thank you.